The Jonestown Massacre. The Jonestown Massacre, which occurred on November 18, 1978, is one of the most tragic and harrowing episodes in modern history. This mass murder-suicide of over 900 people, orchestrated by the cult leader Jim Jones, took place in Jonestown, a remote settlement in Guyana. The events leading up to and culminating in the massacre have left an indelible mark on the collective memory, highlighting the dangers of cults, charismatic leadership, and blind obedience. Background: Jim Jones and the People's Temple. James Warren Jim Jones was born on May 13, 1931, in Crete, Indiana. He founded the People's Temple in the 1950s, initially as a church that promoted progressive ideas, racial integration, and social justice. Over time, Jones's leadership became increasingly authoritarian and paranoid. By the 1970s, the People's Temple had grown significantly, with headquarters in San Francisco and a large, devoted following. Jones's teachings began to include apocalyptic and revolutionary rhetoric, claiming that a racist, capitalist America would lead to inevitable nuclear war and social collapse. Relocation to Guyana. In the mid-1970s, facing growing scrutiny and negative media coverage in the United States, Jones decided to move his congregation to Guyana, South America, where he leased land to create a socialist utopia. This settlement, named Jonestown, was intended to be a safe haven from persecution and a model of communal living. Life in Jonestown. Initially, Jonestown was promoted as a thriving, self-sufficient community. However, life in Jonestown quickly deteriorated into a nightmare. Residents endured harsh living conditions, long hours of labor, inadequate food, and strict control over their lives. Jones's paranoia and mental instability increased, leading to intense surveillance, public punishments, and rehearsals for mass suicide, which he called White Nights. Concerns and investigation. Concerned relatives and former members of the People's Temple raised alarms about the conditions in Jonestown and the welfare of its inhabitants. In response, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan decided to visit Jonestown to investigate these claims. On November 17, 1978, Ryan, accompanied by journalists and a group of concerned relatives, arrived in Jonestown. Initially, Ryan and his delegation were welcomed, but tension quickly mounted. During their visit, several residents expressed a desire to leave with Ryan. This infuriated Jones, who saw it as a betrayal. The massacre. Attack on Congressman Ryan. On November 18, as Ryan's group prepared to leave, they were ambushed by People's Temple gunmen at the Port Kaituma airstrip. Congressman Ryan, 3 journalists, and 1 defector were killed. Several others were injured but managed to escape. Mass suicide. Following the attack, Jones convinced his followers that they were in imminent danger from U.S. forces and that the only way to avoid capture and humiliation was through revolutionary suicide. He ordered the distribution of a cyanide-laced drink, often mistakenly referred to as Kool-Aid but actually Flavor Aid. Parents were instructed to give the poison to their children first, then consume it themselves. Those who resisted were forced to comply. In total, 918 people, including over 300 children, died that day. Jones himself was found dead from a gunshot wound, believed to be self-inflicted. Aftermath. The aftermath of the Jonestown Massacre was one of shock and horror. The images of hundreds of bodies, including children, lying lifeless in the jungle were broadcast worldwide, leaving an indelible mark on history. The massacre highlighted the dangers of cults, the susceptibility of people to charismatic leaders, and the potential for tragedy when power is unchecked. Investigation and analysis. Investigations into the massacre revealed the extent of Jones's control over his followers and the conditions that led to such a tragic end. Survivors and former members provided harrowing accounts of life in Jonestown and Jones's descent into paranoia and madness. Legacy and lessons. The Jonestown Massacre has served as a powerful cautionary tale about the dangers of cults and the importance of critical thinking and vigilance. It underscored the need for awareness and intervention in preventing such tragedies in the future. Conclusion. As we explore the Jonestown Massacre on True Crime, we will delve into the detailed timeline of events, the investigation, and the broader societal implications of this devastating case. Join us as we examine the evidence, the impact on the community, and the ongoing debates about cults, leadership, and the vulnerability of individuals to manipulation. The story of Jonestown serves as a somber reminder of the potential for human tragedy when power and control are abused.